It was 21 years ago on the 29th of June 1990. I was working in a bar and always worked late into the night serving drinks. I finished work and went to a fast food place to grab some food with my colleague. And then we were going to head home. It was about 5 a.m. We were in the line waiting for some food, and there were two security guards from a local bank in there at the same time. They were off duty and both were extremely drunk. One of them was calm and eating his chips, but the other one was annoying everyone and was waving his revolver in everyone's face. He pointed it in my direction and the gun went off. I fell backwards and was in a lot of pain. I went to hospital for a month or so, and I knew that my life would never be the same again. I remember waking after the operation not knowing whether I would live or die. The man who shot me went to jail, but only for 29 days. I later heard that he'd bribed the judge and was let off. But through it all, I'm alive, and I won't leave this earth until God tells me it's my time. I just hope that one day the man that did this to me pays the price. I know that God will see all of this, and although I have suffered, the criminal that did this to me will be punished. God will punish him and judge him for what he did to me.
This is the story of Wilson de la Cruz. 21 years after being shot and partially paralyzed, Wilson still lives in Ecuador's capital city, Quito. In the time that's passed since the attack that changed his life so drastically, Wilson has developed into one of Ecuador's most decorated athletes. Just a year after his accident, Wilson was encouraged to try wheelchair racing, something he immediately excelled at. By 1996, Wilson was the country's leading disabled athlete and travelled to Atlanta, where he made his Paralympic debut. In all, Wilson competed in 3 Paralympic Games and won countless medals in long-distance wheelchair races all over the world.
This is my room where I live and where I keep most of my medals. I call it my museum. I was lucky enough to be able to travel, race in some incredible places and win lots of medals and trophies. I won my first trophy in 1993, and I've been winning more ever since. In the last few years, I've competed less, but I think I'll start racing again, with the hope of winning more medals, because they're very important to me.
Despite all his sporting success, Wilson lives a simple life. He rents a small room in the far south of the city in a house for disabled people that have nowhere else to live. Wilson has 2 daughters, Chantal and Chadalene, who live with his mother in the far north of the city. Due to work commitments, he only sees them at the weekends.
I think they're probably still too young to appreciate the efforts I've had to make, but I know in the future they'll be able to see how I've struggled. But my girls are everything to me. They're my reason to carry on living. They give me something to look forward to. I have sole custody of them, and along with my mother bring them up. It's because of them that I get up every day and go to work. I want them to have the best education I can give them. They really did change my life. If I didn't have my daughters, I would probably feel totally lost and be living completely differently. They really are a blessing.
Happiest away from the limelight, Wilson is still largely unknown in his homeland. Having earned little money from his career in sport, every day he travels to work across town. Travelling around Quito in a wheelchair is extremely difficult, so whenever he goes to work, Wilson uses leg braces and a crutch. However, due to his disability, just getting a taxi to take him to work can be a struggle.
Well, I think that in this country there are very few disabled people that are seen living active lives. There are very few disabled role models that are famous. It's extremely difficult being disabled here, and I really feel passionate about changing the way people treat us. We didn't choose to be disabled, yet we're treated as if we did something wrong. We're like the forgotten people of society, and that's just awful, because we have so much that we can contribute to Ecuador. We're capable of doing as much for this country as non-disabled people, and just need to be given the chance to prove it.
Employed in a factory that produces office furniture, Wilson works 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. Despite having nothing to do with sport, it's a job that has given Wilson a huge amount of satisfaction.
My employers have been great to me because they treat me like everyone else. There are obviously a few jobs I cannot do, but I do what I can very well, and I get paid the same as everyone else. There's no difference here between me and anyone else, and although the work is hard, I really enjoy working. I start at 2 in the afternoon every day and don't stop until 10 at night.
As well as his success as a wheelchair racer, Wilson is also Ecuador's top wheelchair basketball player. Following the 1996 Atlanta Paralympics, Wilson stayed in the city and played in the National Wheelchair Basketball League. He now organises weekly games in Quito for the city's disabled community.
I'm under no illusions that I have a huge responsibility. I have to help Paralympic sport in Ecuador. If I don't do it, no one else will, and I like that responsibility. I'm passionate about increasing the quality of sport for disabled people in Ecuador and helping the country to have successful Paralympians in the future. I will do everything I can to make sure that things improve.
It's Wilson's dream to start a wheelchair basketball league in Ecuador. He's also hoping that one day the Ecuadorian team will play in a Paralympic Games. However, that looks unlikely in the near future, as Wilson receives little help from the National Paralympic Committee. Now 42, he still has his own sporting dreams. Wilson is attempting to qualify for next year's London Paralympic Games. In 2008, Wilson suffered a pre-stroke, which prevented him from travelling to the Beijing Games and kept him from doing any exercise for nearly 3 years. Now on the road to recovery, Wilson is gradually increasing the amount of physical work he does as he looks to return to top shape.
I would love to be in London next year. I think I can make it there, but I must regain full fitness. I also need a new racing wheelchair. I don't have one at the moment, and without one, I have no chance of even being selected.
Whether or not Wilson ever competes again, his legacy as Ecuador's greatest ever Paralympian is assured. With ambitious plans to elevate Paralympic sport in